Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mythic Mel. I'm doing a little something different this podcast episode, and I'm interviewing a very important person in my life, Ellen Halpern, who is my body worker, and just taking a detour from Greek mythology to tell a story that is epic in its own way, in that she changed my life in a sense by helping me to understand the structure of my body and how it could move and be supported in different ways. And I think that's really important information. And she's kind of like a real life goddess in my life. So I am sharing her with you all. She has great wisdom, many, many years working with people on both the physical and the energetic level. And so that's what I'm doing today for Mythic Mel, is sharing this wonderful person with you. Ellen Halpern is a certified structural integrator, a zero balancer, as well as a shamanic practitioner. She's a graduate of Boston University and holds a BFA in arts education and art therapy. Before she became a full-time body worker, Ellen was a graphic artist and potter in Portland, Maine. She went to massage school, and this is a very interesting story that you'll hear, at the suggestion of a shamanic practitioner who went on a vision and had this come up for her. And she went to the Massage Institute of New England, graduating in 1990. In 1992, Ellen got certified with Tom Myers and became a structural integrator, now called Anatomy Trains, which you'll hear about in our interview. She's been a practitioner at Myotech Combined Therapies in Dedham, Massachusetts since the 90s and has been studying shamanism with Anne Drake for the last 3 years. So I'm very happy to share Ellen and her wisdom with you. And just to let you know, this is the first time I've conducted a live in-person interview, and I made a makeshift studio in my my dining room. So for those of you who are watching this interview, that's the deal. And for those of you listening, hopefully it sounds pretty good because we have 2 microphones. And I think it was a wonderful experience to just talk with her and learn more about her story, and to also share how grateful I am that she's in my life. And so, yeah, I really hope you enjoy, and let me know in the show notes how it landed for you, what you do to take care of your bodies. Has a body worker ever changed your life? Yeah. So welcome to the show, and now I will transfer us over to the interview. Thanks for joining. Take care. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my very first in-person interview with a guest on Mythic Mel. And today's guest is a wonderful structural integrator and shamanic practitioner named Ellen Halpern. And she happens to be my greatest gift in life, as truly, certainly one of them, is my body worker, and has really changed my life and my body, and brought awareness to my fascia and my an understanding of my body in ways I never did, even though I've worked with my body as a dancer and an aerialist for, since I was a little kid. So welcome, Ellen.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here and agreeing to do this.
You're welcome. It's a stretch, but we will stretch.
We'll stretch. As I said, you are a structural integrator, and you work out of Myotech Combined Therapies in Dedham, Massachusetts.
Correct.
And you also are a shamanic practitioner, which we'll get into.
Great.
But first, let's just go into When did you become a structural integrator, and what even is a structural integrator?
Okay. So I was living in Maine, in Portland, Maine, and I was a graphic artist. So I went to school to actually be an art educator, and I tried that, and I really didn't like it. And I was also knew that I had to move down to Massachusetts because my dad was ill, and it was too much for my mom to take care of. And I knew I was going to change, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to this woman. Her name was Doris Bell, and she was in Portland. She was a shamanic practitioner as well. And she did a journey called a journey to basically figure out what I was to do with the rest of my life. And I was then in a relationship, and he and I were okay, but it wasn't working that great. So Doris did a journey, and when she came back from it, she said, "You should become a massage therapist." And I said, "What is that?" I really didn't have any clue. I had never had a massage. I had one friend whose grandfather was actually Harold Riley. I think that was his name. And he was a kind of famous massage person. I know he massaged Bob Hope. That's all I know. But anyway, so I just, for some reason, it felt right. And so I jumped at it, and I had just bought a condominium in Portland, and I just rented it out, moved to Massachusetts. I said, I'll be here for, I think it was a 9-month program. And I went to the Massage Institute in New England in Cambridge at the time. It's actually no longer there. And I took the classes. I loved them. And I became basically a Swedish massage therapist. And then a year later, I was still in Massachusetts. I ended up taking a class with Tom Myers, who studied with Ida Rolf. And we can't call ourselves Rolfers. We're actually, at that time, called ourselves kinesis myofascial integrators. But now I think it's called anatomy trains. So that's how I became a structural integrator.
That's a wild story. That
It's a long one.
A shamanic practitioner went on a journey, and somewhere in the energetic dimension kind of came back with this vision. Did she say any more about what that was, or she just kind of gave it to you like a present?
Gave it to me like a present. She didn't say really anything more. And I also had a cousin who went to the Massage Institute of New England. And so I chose that school because of Kim, my cousin, who liked it.
Yeah.
And I just did some research, and actually my aunt and uncle at that time, I really didn't have the money to do it. I think it was $2,000 to go to school, if you can believe that. It was 1990. And anyway, my aunt and uncle gave me the money. They just gave it to me. So everything just aligned with it.
Yeah.
It was really sweet. It was really nice.
And you didn't even go, maybe not. You were just, everything within you was like, okay, this is what I'm doing.
Yes, kind of. But when I started and I was having these things happen to me while I was doing the work, I was like scared. And I would call Doris up and I'd say, "What is going on? I don't think I can do this. It's scary." Yeah. And, touching people all day long, etc. And she's like, "Oh, hang in there, Ellen. You'll do it. You'll do it." And I hung in there and ended up it's my life calling, I think.
I'm grateful that you did heed the call, because truly, as I said, you really, really awakened me to an understanding of the body that I had not been aware of previously. It was like, so we'll talk about that. But you just said it was scary initially. What was scary?
The reactions that people had, that they felt certain awakenings, as you called it, or healings or that type of thing. And it wasn't happening to a lot of people in my class. It was happening to me or to the people I was working on, and everybody wanted to work with me. And it was scary to have that type of, I don't know if you'd call it responsibility, but it was something like that. I'm not exactly sure what I'd call it, but I felt it was a gift, and I don't think I realized that for a long time until my maturer ages.
So, but you were having powerful experiences and you
Yes.
stuck with it.
Yes.
And I know that you also you did pottery, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true. When I was in Portland, I went to the Portland Art School and I had a wheel. I had a kick wheel with a 200-pound wheel base. And I used to roll that around Portland. And so I did it very naturally, but it was molding clay. And I feel like actually molding the body is very similar. And when I was at BU Art School, I also sculpted. That was my favorite thing to do there. I wasn't okay artist, but not great. And sculpting was my medium.
Yeah.
So
And
I
now,
like that.
And now you sculpt us.
Yes. Yeah.
And who would you say is, who comes to you? Like what kinds of people come to you and why?
So through my career, it's changed. And when I first started, I actually started at Myotech Combined Therapies. And it was a woman named Linda Jaros and a man named Bill Doherty who owned it. And Linda was an athlete. Bill was a PT, physical therapist. And I think Linda mostly worked with runners at that time. It was Team Reebok. So when I first started out, I worked with a lot of athletes who were runners, like Billy Rogers, not to name drop, but people that were really pretty elite and pretty good at what they did. From running, Bob 70 was the coach. He was a trip and a half of a guy. He's lovely. He's now in California. And when he left, my running community kind of changed to triathletes. So I worked a lot with bikers, swimmers, and runners for a while, and some pro athletes there, interspersed with a lot of regular people as well. And then I began to work with a lot of the Boston Symphony people, which I consider athletes as well. And now I'm working with a lot of aerialists and Moody Street Circus and your crew, which are really, to me, having worked on so many different bodies, like the core is so important, and aerialists have to have a strong core. They can't do what they're doing without that. Yeah. And so they change really well, and they also follow directions really well. So it's a lovely group. I really enjoy it to work with them.
Yeah. I mean, it's just for me to have somebody that I trust to refer people to when they have, issues that come up that I see are chronic. And which they a lot of times believe that they are just stuck with. Like if you think you're stuck with something,
you're not.
You're not.
You change.
If you find somebody like Ellen, it's like it's so mind blowing what can change that you don't think will change. But yeah.
I mean, I believe patterns shift, and that's the same in shamanic journeying and practicing, as well as structural integration. And it's really about how to shift patterns. And it's fascinating to me. Every day I'm learning something new.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love about working with you, because we're always like, I think I've been coming to you for like over 10 years.
Have you? Wow.
And I remember in the very beginning, I was just blown away because first I came in with I think it was what I learned was a QL, the muscle, the
Quadratus lumborum.
quadratus lumborum. And it was just like a burning hot poker.
I know which one that was.
Feeling,
on you.
Yes. And I had been, I'm just like self-motivated. I'm like super independent.
Yes.
And like I was trying all the things that one does, I'm doing yoga, I'm stretching my hips, I'm like doing all these things. And I'm like, why can't I make this go away on my, and then this was I think it was more than 10 years, but it was at the same time, part of my kind of spiritual awakening, in a sense of like me waking up to the fact that I shouldn't do everything by myself, that I should reach out for help, that I, should invest in myself to get other perspectives, to bring myself into balance. And that was a huge step for me. And I came to you and you did something, we could talk about it, whatever. But basically, one of the things that blew my mind was that it wasn't like you didn't focus on the area where I experienced the discomfort. You went somewhere else on my body. And at the end of the session, I was pain-free
nice.
in that first time, and I felt like I'd had a thorn in my little paw, you had taken
the Aesop's fable.
Exactly. And like you had taken out the thorn, and all of a sudden I had all this energy coming into my body. And like, I hadn't realized how much this little pain that I was living with, that wasn't so little really, but I was managing. I hadn't realized how much it was draining me. And then and I was just blown away. So then I'm just like telling everybody about it. But then I don't go back to Ellen for some time. I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. And so I would go back to her every time I'll talk to you. I would go back to you every time something would come up, and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to book with Ellen. Bob, this went on for some time. And she would always help. And it would, it wasn't like an instant perfection of balance every single time. It was a process. But each time I learned something more about my body. I learned, I just was so fascinated. And I asked questions and specific things. And then I remember at one point you were like, listen, I don't want you to keep coming to me every time that you feel something bad. You need to stay ahead of the game, so to speak.
Prevention.
You need to so you need to take this seriously and come more regularly to do the prevention
piece. Right.
And so say more about that. Like, do you say that to everybody, or
no? I don't say it to everybody, because not everybody is at a place that they can hear it, number one, or their pocketbooks can't hear it. But first off, I want to say to what you had said before, that Ida Rolf is the structural integrator of Rolfing, and I espouse to her. She's even though I never knew her, I just like to read about her and what she said. And one of the things that she's always said is, where it is, it ain't. And I'll always remember that, to your QL, like where the problem is may not be where the solution is. So I would want to say that.
Yeah.
But as far as prevention goes, if you use your body in the way that you use your body every day physically, or you're playing an instrument every day and you're doing the same thing over and over again, then it gets tired and it gets in need of other things. And I can catch something before it happens. And that's the prevention piece. That's really important. But if you're young, I see kids, I consider 20s kids too, and they don't need it on a regular basis yet. So if they can afford it, great.
Yeah.
But they don't really they just mold really easily. So
do you think, obviously our bodies change as we get older.
Yes.
do you see a marked difference in, as like I'm getting into my late 50s now, and
Yes,
like it's
unfortunately.
the tissues
I would say that
change.
there is a definite
Yeah.
difference. You just don't change as fast. Things dry up,
Yeah.
so to speak, unfortunately, but it does happen. And also, it's a lot more like longer wear and tear on your body.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess Tom Brady has been known for having massage every day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's great if you do what he does or did what he did. I don't know if he's kept that up, but
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So one of the things I also admire about you is that when you cannot figure out something, you will refer someone to a person or to someone else who is an expert in their field.
Yes.
So for example, one time, I forget what it was, but you referred me to who I call the bone whisperer, Carl Faust, right?
Yeah, Dr. Carl Faust.
Dr. Carl
A physical
Faust,
therapist.
physical
Yes.
therapist.
I have some really good resources now,
Yeah.
having been in the business for 35 years and have cultivated people that I really admire.
Yeah.
And he would be definitely one of them.
Yeah. And there's something, I think that's really important for any practitioner to understand is that, you're not supposed to know everything.
You do not know everything.
No.
And I'm not a bone person. That is not in my scope. Bone exercise, giving exercises, stretching, all of that. And I know when I don't know. And I think that's an important piece that as I've aged, realize that I can say, no, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I admire that a lot. And I think we all, we all should do that. And there's no shame in that. You're supposed to have your list of references and people you trust to give to clients, which is great. It's true for Reiki as well. Oh, it's a visit from Mia, my little cat. For those of you not seeing the video, she's currently getting a little bolder. Gonna put her down. Goodbye.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to talk about fascia.
Okay.
So first of all,
what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of things I would say about fascia. First off, I think of it as the connective web of the body, kind of like a computer, because everything is connected through your fascia. It goes all the way to the deepest level in the body. Fascia is if you want to think of it on a chicken, and there's a diaphanous. How do you say that? Diaphanous? Anyway,
diaphanous.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very thin sheet
Yeah.
over the muscle.
Yeah.
And that is the fascia, this thin sheet. That's hard to say. And another quote from Ida Rolf is that we're actually one muscle and a bunch of bags. And the bags is the fascia. So that's the connective tissue. And that's really what keeps our muscles separate, and that when we're stressed gets, I think, this is how I look at it, laid down thicker and stops the flexibility and the movement. I've done several dissections, and that's what it looked like to me in the body. So,
and what is the difference between like a regular massage and the kind of fascia work that you do?
Well, I think regular massage does work with fascia too.
Okay.
Depending on who it is, but it doesn't go to the level of depth usually that I do, I would say. It doesn't look at patterns. It's more like you do an effleurage, you do a petrissage, you work this limb, you relax it, and you relax the muscle. But it doesn't necessarily specifically go into the depth of like the littler muscles in the body. It more works on the superficial muscles of the body versus the core, the deeper muscles in the body. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's great and it's very therapeutic to get either
Yeah.
type of work.
Well, I mean, what I notice when I'm with you is that, I mean, it's not always, it doesn't feel good all the time,
No.
right? But
It would be nice because I call it the hedonic level of pain, where it hurts but feels good.
Yeah.
Hurts good.
it hurts good. Oh, it hurts good.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I like to
yes.
stay at that, but there's times that I also know that I need to just get it.
Yeah.
Because they're here and they want to get better. And so we're just going to go after it. But I mean, one of the key things and really important thing is trust with your client. And if they can't let go and like let you do what you need to do, then a fight happening, that's just not helpful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Is there anybody who this type of work is not beneficial for?
It's a very good question. And I am not sure I have a full answer to that, but I would say that very hypermobile people, and I never say this right, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I know Carl's going to go, no, that's not how you say it. That syndrome, sometimes they're too loose in their joints, and loosening them up more will not be helpful. And so that would be one, like hypermobility. But also, if the joint is very hypermobile, the muscles have to work harder. So there's a kind of a balance there.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I can't say that. I guess I believe that it's almost good for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I'm flashing onto my dad who had Parkinson's disease, and I tried working on him, and his body was like stretch elastic bands. They were so tight from the disease process, and he actually would hallucinate when I worked on him. And I don't know whether that was the medication or what it was, but I couldn't do it. It didn't work well with him.
Okay.
But I don't think that that's with all people with Parkinson's. So you have to play it out with the person and see.
Yeah. I know you worked on your mother a lot.
Every week.
And she lived a very long time.
She did, 103.
I kind of wonder whether it wasn't because, partly
I think it
because you
was
were working
helpful
on her.
and she loved it.
Yeah.
And I would work really deep with her until, I don't know, I probably stopped working on her when she was 100 because she couldn't get on the table anymore and we just couldn't do it, but she loved it. So it definitely helped her not to have to get a hip replacement for many, many years. And then she fell and broke her hip and she had to have it replaced. But it warded it off for a very long time. And she was very thankful because she didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And what about you? Do you get regular?
I do.
Yeah. And what does it do for you? How do you take care of your hands and your and all that?
No, I try to get worked on every week now. I mean, I didn't used to when I was younger, but now, aging wise for me, my hands are great. My hands are really,
they're amazing.
They're very strong.
Yeah.
And I know I try and arm wrestle with my nephews all the time. And so far, I don't think that I've let them beat me yet. So it's kind of fun. So, I mean, I do have to do a regiment of exercise every day, squats and presses and that type of thing. But I don't really have to do much for my hands anymore. They know what to do and they're strong, and the only time that they actually give me any trouble is when I'm not working.
Yeah.
So, or I do something different. But I think that's like any athlete, same type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So.
I can testify that your hands are, but you also use your elbow.
Yes, I do.
Sometimes, but it feels like it's it's the most intelligent elbow I've ever encountered. It just knows, knows what to do.
It does.
It
does. And I mean, I have trained several people, so I don't know if I would want to work on me, knowing that I can be pretty directive at times, but I feel like I know what I need. Yeah. And most of the time I think I'm right. Who knows? And it must be a little frustrating because sometimes it's really nice as a practitioner to be able to do whatever you want to do, but you also got to satisfy the client. So it's both of those
Yeah.
together. You have to master somehow.
Yeah. I kind of want to get into the other things that come out when, like do you feel like there's a correlation between in terms of the mind body connection?
I do.
And what is held in the body? And what have you seen in your...
So I could tell you many, many, many stories, but there's one especially that comes to mind. And it was a client of mine who had low back pain for a very long time. She's actually probably... I've had clients for 35 years, that as long as I've been in the business, she was one of my first clients. And I just was like perplexed because I could not get this low back pain to go away. And I couldn't understand it. And then one day, as I was working on her, I went down her back and went to her QLs and that area. And I was just like, this is like hooked. It felt like there was this giant, like I could almost see it, like this hook in her. And I said something like, and I just said it because it came to my head. I just said, why don't you let yourself off the hook? And she just burst into tears. And she told me a story about being Catholic and having an abortion and felt horrible that she did that. And it was not in her belief system, but she was young. And I went back to that area in her body, like the same time after she had her, after she told me the story, and it was gone. Like her low back pain was gone. It was gone. And it never came back in the same intensity that it had been there. So that
must have been really like a revelation to you in a way.
It showed me how mind-body connected we are, and how if you don't have the mind on board, like where is pain? I still don't have the answer to that, so I'll probably work until I'm 90 or 100 trying to figure that out as far as where is pain. I don't know if it's in the brain or in the body, or is it both, or is it dependent, but I have a lot of theories on that. It's interesting.
Well, that's kind of where I want to probe next, because when I was coming to you, more and getting to know you more and more, I recognized that you were able to find and detect places in my body to work on that. It was like my body was speaking to you, it was bypassing my analytical brain. Like I couldn't have said and articulated something, but then you would be like holding my calf or my neck, and you would just suddenly know where to go. And I would be like, oh my God, I forgot even to talk about that I had that thing. It's like my body talked to your hands directly. And I was like, Ellen, are you working with your intuition here? Or are you there was something more going on than met the eye, so to speak. So I wonder if you would speak to that, because I feel like your intuition guides you in this really interesting way.
Yeah, it really does. And as I've aged, I've been able to embrace it more. Excuse me. But I'll tell a little secret here, that I often energetically play with this just day to day because it's fun. Before somebody comes in even, I can connect to their energy field, because the energy field is vast. And I would say 95% of the time, I know right where to go. And they don't have to tell me what's wrong with them, but I still ask and give them that opportunity. But I do know. I don't know how that happens. I don't really get it myself, but I have, as I've studied more with a shamanic practitioning and with my teacher, Ann Drake in Gloucester, I really just know that it's there, and it's part of me, or part of a gift of the universe. And it's really not my mind, because if I get my mind into it, then I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I just, somehow I'm pretty good at getting out of my mind. And it's actually, there are times when I've done a whole session, I believe it's channeled. Like, I really don't know how else I did it. I don't remember it really.
Yeah.
In a concrete way.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're able to you are able to be a clear channel.
Yes, I think that that's what it is. Yeah. So I would say there was another person who had a deep influence on me. His name was Fritz Smith, and he did zero balancing, which is another form of, he was actually an osteopath, acupuncturist, and a body worker, I guess. I think he did Rolfing or was Rolfed. I'm not sure which, but he was the most amazing, like, energetic being. And I've met him many, many times and got to study with him many, many times. And he got energy, and he knew when he felt it. And there was just, and I went to Mexico and studied with him, and I just had an affinity. It was a really lovely relationship. And he taught me a lot about energy and how to feel it and how to do certain energetic moves in zero balancing. So I'm also a ZB practitioner, though I don't do the whole protocol anymore, but I used to. So
yeah, I think you've used that on me sometimes, and I feel like I go into almost a state of suspension.
Yes.
Almost like the void, in the positive sense. Like I just, just something.
There's a really lovely flow to the whole energy field, and feeling it and absorbing it. And I think that for me now, doing soul retrievals, and that's with the shamanic stuff, has really I just sort of fell into that in a really nice, easy way. And that's also part of what I was doing before, actually.
Right. It's like, let's talk a little more about the shamanic piece, because you and I have been in these classes together and experiencing all of this together.
It's
and
lovely.
Had all of these incredible trips. And even before that, we were, you actually invited me to psychic development classes in your, at some point. That was like way back.
Right.
And we were already.
I dabbled in that, in mediumship, which was okay, and I can do it, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. And this shamanic stuff was more.
Yeah, this really called.
With that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go into your room, your treatment room, and it just feels like, there's lions on the wall. You have images of lions and the plants, and it's just like a great. You've got crystals under the
bench. Under the bench.
It's got a vibe. You're like, I'm in good hands over here. There's some power going on, but then it's been fun to be on this shamanic journey with you and actually see you even open more to your energetic gifts.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a struggle.
Yeah. What was hard at first about it?
I think my self-confidence and self-worth was low, and always has been low. And I realized that, but it's been a growth to know that, like, I keep thinking, well, why me? And it doesn't matter. Just do it now, is what I really think. That's the growth part, in a way. Just, no, it doesn't really matter why me. It is me, and that's just the way it is.
That's right.
So
yeah, you sort of redirected and embraced.
Yeah, and I think as you age, there's something about a knowing that happens that's really nice. And there's certain letting go and making space for other things. For example, I gave my business practice of Myotech Combined Therapies. I don't own it anymore. I'm a worker bee, and I love it. And I don't have to deal with all the landlord and the concrete stuff and it's a blessing. And I gave it to somebody who's wonderful, Katie and Goldsberry, and she's just making it into a current place that I would have never done. And I love watching her flourish with it.
Yeah.
So it is a part of letting go when you get older.
Yeah.
And just realizing that you don't have to be and do everything, that just accept what is and enjoy it. And I'm able to do that much more than I ever was. So,
Yeah. I can see that. And I also feel like there is something about the spiritual aspect of fascia that it's like, and you have this connection to that, and you're allowing it to change you now. Like everything, you're allowing yourself to be changed. And it's like, even because you have, you've let yourself continue to learn, continue to grow, push past discomforts of like putting yourself out there. Even this interview, I'm really happy that you agreed to do it.
Yeah, it's unusual for me. And at the same time, like, I feel like there's a legacy that needs to be passed on. And I say that humbly and with grace, and that I'm willing to do that now and realize that the world needs more of that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, and for me, like, it's right now as we're recording, it's December. It's this time of like, I don't know, it's the holiday time, it's gratitude time. And that is why I wanted to put a pause in talking about Greek mythology goddesses and talk about my real life goddesses. And you are one.
Thank you.
And really, like, truly have changed my life and empowered me, because
didn't I give you your first tarot deck?
You gave me my first tarot deck.
I had to put that in there.
That was coming. Yes.
I knew that like, just, it came from a guide. It was just like, you were meant to do that and when something like that happens, and most of the time tarot, you are supposed to be given your first tarot deck, not buy it yourself necessarily.
Right.
That, according to the lore, I don't know whose lore, but and so it felt so right. And to watch you flourish with it, I think, yes.
It's all because of Ellen
That
Halpern,
is so
everybody.
Nice.
I'm beyond grateful for that, because those cards are like extensions of my soul.
That's what they are, a tool, right?
It's a tool, and it's just, working with them has been just magical and super fun. And
you're great at it, and you have an incredible memory. So that those pieces together with that tool, like, I studied it, and I have a terrible memory in that way. And it was not meant for me, it was definitely meant for you.
Yeah.
So it's lovely.
Yeah, it is great. And I mean, I've actually, because of you, like, I put myself, I remember, I don't know, but things have come through those cards with you. And then even with we went out to lunch one time with your dear friend, and like, all of a sudden I was doing like mediumship through the cards.
Yes.
And it was wild. And I just,
you just went with it.
And I just went with it, because that's what we have to do, is just go with it.
Right.
And then get out of the way. And then, all these, and your friend was deeply,
very moved by it. She
deeply,
talks about it still.
And these are the things why it's so important to just trust deeply in yourself and your kind of where your inclinations go, what excites you, and be creative. I don't know. I feel like you do that with your work, but you're very grounded. I mean, you are a Taurus.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful to have you be a Taurus.
I'm very
working
grounded
on my body. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But what do you say is right now? I know you've been doing shamanic practicing. You're a shamanic practitioner. And now you've kind of gotten into doing some more sessions on the energetic level, not touching the body. What's that like?
Well, I end up always touching the body because I do have a license. I say I have a license to touch, and if that's okay with you, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's fine."
Okay.
So I do, especially when clearing certain areas, I still utilize, especially zero balancing, because the fulcrums and the that moves the energy so much faster than just, how we clean the energy out of the body. So I still do that, but I have to say that I'm blown away every time I do a session, and I've probably done maybe 15 or so now. And I mean, people that I don't even know, and I learn and know so much about them. Um, yeah, it's really powerful stuff. I never put it so much together like that before, but I love doing them, and it isn't as hard physically, so that's really nice too. But I forgot your question. But
No, it was just sort of comparing the two, like what are you, I think you like to do both.
I do like to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never want to give up body work and structural integration. I wouldn't want to do that. But I also really enjoy interspersing it with the shamanic stuff. And okay, I tell a little story,
Please.
of the shamanic
Yeah.
stories. I like telling stories. I had this young kid, was young to me, kid, in his mid 20s, like 27, I think. And I was calling in the spirits of the north, south, east, whatever, and then the spirits of myself and him. And I said this name, and I don't want to say it. So I said a name, and he was such a polite gentleman. At the end, he said, my name is such and such. Well, I'll just say Bobby. My name is Bobby. And I'm like, oh. And that's not the name that I used. And then I thought, I just checked in with my guides like I'm supposed to do, because I'm thinking nothing's random when this work happens. Nothing's random. I said, and I know his mom, and I said, we need to text your mom. The guides are telling me to text your mom and ask what they were thinking of naming you, because there's another name, and it's a name that I mentioned, I'm pretty sure. And we texted her, and she said the name, yes, that was a name. It was, my husband really wanted to name you that. And just, there was a whole story that involved that. It was, to me, it didn't mean a lot to him necessarily, but to me, it was huge proof that this stuff is beyond what I know and beyond me. It's happening somewhere else in the ethers or whatever you want to call it, wherever it is.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
I love that story. That is wild. And he's come back, right?
Oh, yes.
he's come back.
He has. He came back for massage, for structural integration. Yeah. Yeah. And, but he's, as far as what his mom says, he's utilizing a lot of what I spoke to him about in a really positive manner. And that's all that I ask, is for people to get something healing, some type of change of a pattern in their lives. That's all you can do for people, because it's really ultimately up to them, because they're the ones who control what's happening in their bodies. So
that's a really good point. I want to that point. I know that you give homework.
Yes.
Talk about that. Like, is there any, like, just some interesting homework that's come up for people? Because that could help other people.
Well, I think homework is really important because it keeps the energy flowing, and it keeps you engaged in what happened during the session. So, I mean, a couple of times I've given, or my guides have given, rock climbing to people, because it's taking steps of people who are stuck, but it's taking those steps in a way that's still supported. And you're not, if you fall, you can get up. You'll be fine. It's not necessarily something to be afraid of. Or I've given, or guides have given, scribbling, go home and just scribble, do not draw anything concrete. And to me, I actually studied art therapy, and there's a lot of anxiety, if you will, that you can come out of that when you just scribble and scream, whatever comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scribble and scream, everybody.
Yes,
Scribble and scream. That sounds.
It's very liberating.
Sounds very liberating. Allows things to. Yeah. Would you say that people keeping things bottled inside is what tends to hold the patterns? And
that is a great question. I don't know, but people do keep things bottled inside.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because some people, like heads, for example, I mean, I could answer that question in multitudes of ways. And some people's heads are really heavy. Mm-hmm. Like you hold them and you're like, what is inside this head? Like, why is it so heavy? And it's not the bones, because everyone has the same bones. Yeah. And it's not muscles. I mean, people are bigger and but it doesn't have anything to do with size. It just has to do with what people hold in their heads and brains, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It is wild.
Yeah. So
the other day you were working on my head,
yes.
And I had a vision of an eagle flying out of my head. It was like, it's just like my whole headspace morphed into like eagle wings. And I just got, it just flew away. And I just went into a state of, I mean, it was amazing, of surrender. And I hadn't realized how much I was holding there.
Yeah. Your head got much later.
You were like, you were like, I knew from when you came in, I needed to go there. And yes. I was like, and I had not identified that. Even with Reiki that I do, my self Reiki, I hadn't really realized how much I was holding there. And so,
but to that point, I do believe you can't do it all yourself. And even if you, maybe a really strong, I don't know, yogic person could, but it would take a lot to get there. And in this day and age, you got to go to outside sources sometimes that can help and aid you much quicker.
I mean, that's been one of the main lessons, as I mentioned before. When I first went to you, I was not going outside for help. I was really trying to do everything myself. I was trying to, I was just.
Yeah, I remember you saying that at the beginning.
Trying to do that. And even now, so it's helped me, as even now that I'm a Reiki practitioner, to understand how much I've gained by coming to you, how much more perspective I have, how much. It's just a beautiful thing to go to somebody and like have them see you and have them help you and
because in a way that's what I am, I feel, is a mirror.
Yeah.
And really allow for whatever comes out, because I can tell you many stories of things that I have learned about people, and it's not all lovely stuff, but it's all needing a source to be seen.
Yeah.
And that's really what I am, I guess, in a way.
No,
I feel like that, a mirror often.
Yeah. And you're more than a mirror, because
I
don't know. Yes.
That is a piece, though.
Humbly, I would say you're a miracle worker, but I just would say, God. I mean, I'm not biased. Okay. I'm not biased, but I do think people go around holding a lot of suffering and history in their bodies. They do. You are like the front lines of, of
seeing that. Yeah. You know what is so, I think one of the most important things now for me is that as I'm aging, a lot of my clients are passing. They've aged or gotten some type of cancer or whatever. I've helped several pass through those ways anyway, but their children now come to me. Mm-hmm. And that is just so sweet and humbling. And I just feel like sometimes I'm working on them and I can almost see their family member, or in the way that they move, or the way, like the one who I used to, I say, well, your mother was just like that. Your mother would have said that, or your father would have, and it's just lovely. And I would say, quite a bit of children who now come to me from their parents. Yeah.
It's really beautiful work.
Yeah.
You're not planning to retire, right?
ever.
I'm not going to let that happen. That is not.
I don't know, but no, I think I'm happy where I am right now. So that's what I say. Yeah. To good. That, someday travel, things like that, but maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, I wanted to bring up something you had mentioned the other day that I had taken note of. And that is, you were talking about doing future workshops potentially about helping people learn how to touch people. And I want to know more about that, because in my work, even as a circus coach, I am also spotting people. I'm very mindful of touch in terms of that as well. But like, what is that? What do you mean by that?
So I have a colleague, her name is Lou Benson. She's in Atlanta now. She's also a structural integrator. And we were just throwing around ideas of what we could teach together. And we both, especially for physical therapists, maybe even chiropractors, and massage therapists too, learn how to feel the tissue. Because I think that one of the things that happens in more of a Swedish type massage is that they go over the tissue. Maybe they feel something, but they don't know what it is. Or they feel something different, but they don't stop and investigate it. And so that's what we want to teach, because we really feel the tissue and feel like, is it scar tissue? Is it fascia sticking? Is it like thick because it's overused? Is it underused? Like, there's so many different things to tissue, and what causes what, and what matrix is it? And it's immense. So that's what we would find very interesting and hopefully helpful, especially for physical therapists, because they are much more linear. And I think people need to be more global, or I don't know, there's a different word, not linear, but
like holistic.
Holistic. Yeah, connected. Like everything's connected. It's not linear. And we right now are living in a linear world as far as I'm concerned. But the phone is linear, all of that is more linear.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain unless you want to read Fourth Turning, and it talks about that a lot. But really the connectedness and how to teach that is tough, like often pretty tough, but it's teachable. And Lou and I would play with that and play with people.
That sounds fun
to do that. Yeah. Wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah. Even I don't know. I'd be interested even just as a regular person, because it sort of reminds
you touch
me.
People,
yeah, so. I do. But also like in terms of Reiki, like we're actually, it's interesting because it's learning to feel things on different levels and layers, including the energetic level.
Yes.
You can
which
feel, hibiki, which is this like, if you're going over somebody's body and it's not their skin per se, but you're up above and you can feel like different sensations in the hands.
You're
and
right.
It's like another, the other aspect of that. It's just actual physical.
The problem with it is that it's often hard to, because it's not almost like verbal. It's really hard to speak about it, but it's part of the process that learning how to put it into words.
Yeah.
It's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Like people, when I'm working on them, always say, what are you feeling? I try to turn, what are you feeling? Because I know what I'm feeling in a feeling sense, but to put it in, it's not a verbal speaking sense.
Yeah.
So
I
it
think
was
that's
tough.
true for anything, like finding the vocabulary for these things,
Yes.
even and on the energetic dimension as well, like finding vocabulary to talk about your, you know, journeys and your, psychic downloads
Yeah,
and just like
that's really hard
yeah,
to
it's really
find.
hard.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So
Well, I really appreciate all the time that you've spent talking today, and I hope that you might come back someday if to tell
we'll
more
see how
stories.
this is received.
I'm sure. No, listen, everybody is going to benefit from your wisdom, and also
Thank you.
just like take care of themselves. You
Yes,
know,
that's
like
so important. It's very important
Yeah.
and very hard to do, actually. I don't think we're fostered in that way often.
yeah, and I've just my gratitude to you, as you know, is boundless and forever. I wanted to, before we go, just ask, how has your view of like, I don't know, this is Awakening Airwaves. And I do feel like in the time I've known you, we've both grown and shifted and opened up to kind of the spiritual, energetic dimension a lot. And I'm just curious, how has that shift been for you? What has changed?
I think I'm calmer. I don't know. I mean, having been a caretaker all my life, whether or not it's also my mom's passing at 103, and that's only been 2 years. So I think that now I have the time to really grow in a different way, because a lot of my energy and time went to care of my mom and my dad. So I don't know. It's yet to be seen. I think I'm just in a new blossom. I have some more blossoming to do. But I'm just letting it happen and recovering from
Yeah.
years of caretaking. And I'm still caretaking in a broader sense, but not necessarily at home. So that's nice.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
You definitely are. Yeah, you're definitely caretaking us. And I mean, anytime I have a student who I'm like, I think it's time for you to see Ellen, because you don't need to
And
live
there
with
is a
that.
time and a place for it.
There
There
is.
is really. You
Oh,
have
yeah,
to
I
be
don't
ready
just-
to change. I always say, don't do the series unless you're ready to change. So it is a commitment to change. So yeah, I feel calmer, I would say. That's more of how I would put it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not so many tapes in my head as I used to have about, why'd you do that, Ellen? Or what, like those tapes.
Yeah. Like trusting yourself more.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I am who I am. And I don't think I know I'm gonna change some, but I'm not gonna be somebody conventional. I am
Yeah.
not conventional.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I love how you are. It's beyond. I'm kidding. We get
Well,
to be
it's
so weird together.
Yes, it's the great.
We really do. Well, before we go, is there anything, that I should have asked, that I could have asked today that just comes to mind about a last thing to say about, the fascia, the, changing and growing, changing patterns, how homework for people, ways that they might take better care of their fascia, even, I don't know.
Well, I think the most important thing is to remember that motion is lotion, and that movement is really important. And that was a quote from my physical therapist, Donna Bear. Motion is lotion. And I do believe that people sitting too much is just unhealthy. And that's probably the thing that I would say the most, is that whatever you can do to move at some point, don't sit all day long and watch TV or stay on the computer, or, and I know a lot of people have computer like jobs, and I think it's killing us. Yeah. And that really working with pro athletes for as long as I have, there's a difference between that and sitting all day long, and people who know their body and know their muscles, and that's important. So
Yeah.
does that
Oh, yeah.
make
Oh, that's, I mean, I think that's really just helpful for people to hear. And motion is lotion is perfect. It's
Yeah.
what I would say as well. If you rest, you rest. Ellen, thank you so much for
You're welcome.
coming.
Thank you for asking.
I'm so excited. I mean, I feel like there's so much more that we could talk about. I mean, the stories you have are,
Yeah, my dad once said, you should write all these down and write a book. He always said that. I always said, but I'm not a writer. You are. So,
well, in this day and age, you could talk your book and we'll all listen. So, and you can do it here with me. So like,
yeah.
let's just, we'll keep that going.
That's cool.
We can keep having conversations.
Okay.
Or we could record your stories on, you could just talk them. Could be really fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But anyway, I look forward to spending time with you in your office and again in interviewing you. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure.
All right, everyone. Again, thank you for joining us on Mythic Mel and Awakening Airwaves. I hope you enjoyed Ellen's wisdom, and I hope that you keep moving and keep learning about yourself and your body and reaching out for support when you need it. You are worth it. And I just hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And thank you for joining me on the Mythic Mel experience. This has been an incredible year learning about podcasting, and I look forward to starting up again in 2026 with a whole new kind of approach to Mythic Mel, where it's a little less intense on the mythology and more of a creative exploration about various topics related to energy work and reading cards and playing a bit more, but weaving in myth as well. So thanks for joining me. Take care.